Namaskar. Hello and welcome to Pgurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today, General Ravi Shankar and General Dushyant Singh. And I'm hoping that perhaps General Rajiv Narayanan also may join. He's running a little bit late. He has some other commitments. Sunday evenings are the times when we get all our homework done. So let's jump right in. Welcome to General Ravi Shankar, General Dushyant Singh. Namaskar, sir. How are you?
Namaskar and thanks a lot.
So as always, let's set the ball rolling with General Ravi Shankar. General Ravi Shankar, Dalai Lama card India has started playing, and you can see, I sent you one tweet and you sent me one tweet. You can see these guys have got their knickers in a twist. Sir, one thing I have to tell all our viewers, people they are not understanding or are not, probably are not aware how much infiltration of the United States system has been done by China, wherein they are sending students by the thousands. Many of them come, learn the language, learn the culture, learn to speak it the right way, and then they go back and work for Chinese CCP. And this has become like a mass transfer. In fact, it has become so powerful. China held that as ransom for giving rare earths to United States, and US said, okay, fine, your 300,000 students can stay here. So this is the amount of stuff that is happening. It's been going on for 15-20 years. I don't know how many of you know General Ravi Shankar, General Dushyant Singh. There are at least 25 to 30 police stations in the Western countries. These are essentially Chinese police stations.
I'm aware.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, sir, this is become like they have become fanatical about this, General Dushyant Singh. There's a Chinatown in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco. There's a Chinatown. This Chinatown represented what was Hong Kong, which had its own flag, what was Taiwan, which had its own flag, and PRC. Today, if you go by, 99% of the flags are only PRC. I mean, fanatical about saying that we are the Chinese. You don't mean much. Of course, they have already gobbled Hong Kong, and what little resistance you can see of Taiwan, I mean, even that is dwindling. I mean, I have some pictures. It breaks my heart to see this thing, that these guys are just riding roughshod. General Ravi Shankar, set the stage for us. The first time India does something to commemorate the 90th birthday of Dalai Lama. Interestingly, Bhutan also endorsed the Dalai Lama, which again has got them up and down. My goodness, who is this? It irks them. It gets under their skin. Why aren't India doing more of this, sir?
Well, look, let me put it in perspective. From what it was to now, I think lot has been done. You just don't go on the streets and start waving flags with China. You have to give them subtle messages and persistent and consistent messages. And that, I think, is going. All this was expected. It was expected that, when His Holiness Dalai Lama's 90th birthday is there, something will happen. And that announcement took place. And immediately China reacted by saying, look, reincarnation, who's the next Dalai Lama is our prerogative and no one should interfere with it and all that. And that was what they said. And Dalai Lama said what he had to say. Right. But after that, things happened. First, the Prime Minister greeted Dalai Lama on his 90th birthday. That's all. He's just done that, which is a big signal. After all, if you remember, when, Chingtelai of Taiwan, when he became the president, he was elected, and our Prime Minister gave, congratulated him. China was up in flames. They said, how can you recognize him? He's not a president, he's part of China and all that. In the same way, at this point of time, Dalai Lama being greeted by the Prime Minister is a big issue. It has been done. Then, of course, when the issue of this succession, who will do, not do, and all that came, Mr. Kiran Rijiju, who was there, he very clearly said that, look, this is an issue of Buddhism, and China has no role in it. Virtually words to that effect. No one else can interfere in this. And he was there, present for the celebrations. That's the second thing. And again, China took offense to this. Then recently we had the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Pema Khandu. Look, his interview was very important, his statements. There are two, three things he said. He spoke about the dam and all that, but other things he brought in. One, he never mentioned about this dam being in China. He said it's in Tibet. And he mentioned it 3-4 times in his interview with the PTI. It's in Tibet, and people from China come and see. They wanted to build that. So he's made the differentiation that Tibet is different from China. And for a chief minister of a state to say this is very important. The second thing which he said is, look, Hindi is our state language. No, Arunachal has a funny thing that every valley has a tribe. And one tribe doesn't know the language of the other. And the link language there is Hindi. And virtually the state language is Hindi. And he says this is part of Hindi and it's India. So there's a cultural, seamlessness which he has built. And he's very clearly said by having Hindi as a state language, it's not part of China. And that would have hit China very badly. Okay. And I think that's these two statements of the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister are very powerful. And the second thing which he said about the dam is it's going to harm habitat and ecology. Now, these are people's issues. And people's issues in that area have no border. It will go across that side. So in those sparse areas, such things going across to the other side will have ramifications. And this is not a short-term problem of that building dam. That building dam will take 20 years. Okay. So if you look at it, and then recently, just yesterday, His Holiness went to Ladakh. And how did he go to Ladakh? Yeah, look at this. He went to Ladakh in an IAF plane. That sends a bigger message. And he's going to be there in Ladakh for good about 2-3 months because he'll take 2 weeks to acclimatize at his age. And then whatever, and he's being given VIP treatment. Right? And this picture is now all over the world. So these are very, very powerful signals which are going across to China. And naturally, the reaction today, the Chinese spokesperson has given out a very strong reaction. I request if you could put that up, in a tweet, and as to how long. It has been noted by some people from strategic and academic communities, including former officials, have made improper remarks on the reincarnation of Dalai Lama, contrary to Indian government's public stance. And everything. As professionals in foreign affairs, all that. Now, it's virtually as if, and then look at later, Chinese government attaches great importance to the protection and development of ethnic minority cultures in Xinjiang, Tibetan people, all this nonsense. Right? In reality, Xinjiang related issue is a thorn in China-India relations and has become a burden for India. Playing the Xinjiang card will definitely end up shooting oneself in the foot. Actually, they started shooting themselves in the foot. Such voluminous reactions are coming out. Right? So I think you have started the story. That's the first thing. The second is, there are two issues which are going to run concurrently. One is the Dalai Lama, which is the major issue, which has a far-reaching effect. And then this dam. This dam is not going to be given away that easily. Right? It's not as if it's game, set, and match to China. There are issues. Both are long-term issues. And what we have done is just start. We have shown them the Tibet card. We have not played it. We have just shown them. This is a card which is here. Behave. And how we take it forward is a thing. And of course, I'll end my introduction by saying this has started. This whole entire Tibet card, this Tibet issue, as a matter of friction between India and China, has already started. So far, it was suppressed. Now it has come up. It's not going to go back. And We'll talk of this as we go along. So there are major issues. I think we have to now rethink our entire policy on Tibet, or we have to rethink our entire policy on China and the larger construct. And things have changed, and we'll discuss as we go along.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. When religious heads go to a place, it is typically for a few months at a time. This has been a culture, because what happens is there is a mandala puja. 45 days is typical. Buddhism may have its own equivalent, but that is exactly what you said. I mean, first it takes time to get acclimatized at the high altitudes of Ladakh, and Ladakh has a fairly large Buddhist population, and it makes complete sense. So, General Dushyant, I have a simple question. You can add to what General Ravi Shankar said, and then I have a simple question, sir. The CCP does not believe in God. And why do you care whether there is Dalai Lama or not? You don't believe in God. If you don't believe in God, where is the question of reincarnation? I mean, you don't believe in God. You have no space to talk about this. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, that's the contradiction which is there as far as the CCP or China is concerned. I would rate it more not as China, but China CCP, or CCP is the country which we are looking at. PRC, you want to call it PRC, but I would
Yes.
say CCP. Now, if you go by ethos, that means no religion as far as communists are concerned. But of late, you would have seen that the that entire country has changed tack. What it has started doing is, it didn't believe in capitalism. Some form or the other, capitalism has come into that particular country. So overall, I think they have learned their lessons from the Russian or the USSR 1991 episode, and don't want to go along that line. So they are kind of doing a balancing act of looking at their peripheries. You see, if you want to defeat China, they also realize that our weakest links are the peripheries. In fact, before they actually took over these areas, they used to call them as barbarians. Now, this is recorded fact. Xinjiang, Tibet, the areas of Inner Mongolia, they were all known as barbarians, not fit enough to be equivalent to the Han Chinese who were there in the eastern coast. So they had to change their tack, and that is why you find that they have consistently engaged Tibet, because Tibet is a problem for them. Their religious head sits in India, who, if he says something, even though the generations have changed, still he has an impact in Tibet. So if Dalai Lama says something in Tibet, makes a statement, it has an impact in Tibet, and that's a problem. And that is why you find what all the Chinese have done. They have taken out a border law, roping in the Tibetans along the border, forcing them to settle there, putting a Han Chinese into their areas, also putting in the Border Defense Regiment and the PLA guys there, so that they are kept on toes. They have been mandated by this border law to defend the line of actual control, you want to say, or McMahon line in their area. So what I'm trying to say is, it's a fear. Is the fear that one population which they may not be able to control is Tibet, because of the power center being outside Tibet. That's the first part. The second part about adding on to what John Shankar has said, there is a normal perception going around in the environment, whether it is in India or whether it is abroad, that India is probably not doing enough to play the Tibet card. I would agree to this to some extent, maybe say 10, 15 years back, but over a period of time, slowly, certain things are being done. Like Jan Shankar said, that there are things being just put on road. For example, there are now along the border, we have opened 2, 3 schools which are known as Tibetan culture schools. So therefore, they are targeting awareness about the Tibetan culture into the Indian side of the environment. Then second thing, which is being quietly done, and that is that this whole thing about reincarnation of the Dalai Lama has been given multiple twists. How has it been given multiple twists? It's not given by the people just as a figment of imagination. There are informal and formal organizations who are carrying out discussions, debates, and throwing out papers every day. For example, the emanation issue has been just thrown out. What is emanation? Which means that the Dalai Lama can actually tell a person who is already a grown-up adult to say that my entire spirit and power have gone into this fellow, and he becomes the next Dalai Lama. Now that is something which is which we need to be careful of. It may not be a traditional reincarnation process the way it used to happen by the Garden Fodrang Trust carrying out this particular reincarnation. It's a very long process. It goes through identification, testing, etc. This would create a vacuum should the Dalai Lama expire, and in that case, the entire Tibetan society can go haywire. So this thing about emanation is very much on the cards. In fact, he has, I believe, Rinpoche, the Samdang Rinpoche, who's the on whom he has the maximum trust for the ex-prime minister of the government in exile. He's almost given everything, the entire charge of reincarnation to him. Some people say no, it's a very traditional process. There are no politics being played as far as reincarnation is concerned. Let me share it with you that politics on Dalai Lama has been going on from the time the first Dalai was, first Dalai came about. Do you know that there was one Dalai who actually took reincarnation in Mongolia?
Wow, I didn't know that.
And
Yeah.
why did it why did it happen? It was an exchange. The Mongolians had a particular reincarnation which was in China, in Tibet, and Tibet said, "Okay, Dalai will." So it was an arrangement. It was a political arrangement. That is why you find why Dalai Lama has given a statement that Tibet, my reincarnation would be in free world. In this, there are a number of options which people are now debating upon. Like, for example, will it be in India? Will it be outside India? Now, this narrative is being thrown out by these informal organizations. I have taken part in almost 3-4 discussions just prior to this particular show, where and before the 90th birthday. In fact, 2 days before the 90th birthday, by the end of this year, there'll be a 8-volume book coming out on Tibet and being written by none other than Mr. Neeraj, who is Joint Secretary East. He's wedded to this passion. Imagine when this book comes in 8 volumes with all his. In fact, I got to know about so much about Tibetan culture through him, through the discussions which we had. We had a long 1-hour session with him, and mind you, in the context, there are 3-4 options in the context of India. What is being spoken about? Will he take birth in India? So if he takes birth in or reincarnation in India, if he reincarnates in India, will it be in Tawang or Kameng, West Kameng as they call it? Will it be in Ladakh? Will it be somewhere around Dharamshala? Will it be Bhutan? Now, these narratives are going for what? They are going to rattle the Chinese. So these are being quietly pushed into the environment. And the last option is, can he be in US? Or can he be in Australia? There are a lot of people in Australia as well. So let the Chinese do what they have to do. If they have created Chinatowns, I have myself once traveled in a bus, which was which runs all across from New York down to Washington DC, and it only stops at Chinatowns. It has its own police station. It has its own control, etc. They are doing it. I think the Americans must get conscious of this particular fact and take certain corrective actions before they expand their writ. Imagine in some other country having a police station. That's really scary. I mean, imagine if in India we have some police station or some other country, we will go berserk. So what I'm trying to say is that, do you know that There is Nalanda University is known to everyone that we have opened Nalanda University. But not many people know just next to Nalanda University, there is Vikramshila University also. Within a span of 20 kilometers, you have two huge universities. What are they doing? They are focusing on propagation of Buddhism. And who are the students here? Mostly foreign. From where? Japan, North, Southeast. These are the guys who are going to become your ambassadors. These are long-term measures, but what I'm trying to say is that there is a revival of Buddhism, and in one of the discussions, I had suggested, why don't we reclaim Buddhism?
Yes.
But that's what I mean is, why don't we reclaim Buddhism as Indians? After all, Buddhism started from India. Just we celebrate one, birthday of
Buddha
Gautam Bodh.
Purnima.
That's Buddha Purnima. That's it. I think we got so many artifacts which are available in our country. Varanasi, Nalanda, Golconda. You can name them all over. The Buddhism presence is there in India more than anywhere else. Why aren't we claiming it? So this was one suggestion which I thought I gave it to them. Maybe it will have some traction when it reaches the people who are actually into power. We can't really dictate them what they have to do, but by and large, you will find that there is a movement towards pushing the Buddhism narrative as though it's part of India, and it is part of India. Why not? It is part of India. The last thing which I want to say is about the kinetic. These are all soft power, non-kinetic. What has been done today, early morning, was a great kinetic message, which has been given to whom? Not to anybody else, but directly to Xi Jinping, if he's in some state to understand, or the current CCP, which is managing the affairs of China. Early morning we had done a drone attack fairly deep into Myanmar against the
Ulfa.
militants. Yeah,
Ulfa.
No, Ulfa and NSCNK both.
Oh, okay.
Both have been targeted. Why NSCNK and Ulfa? There are reasons. Ulfa is related to Assam, NSCNK is related to Nagaland, but more importantly, these guys were also supporting the Manipur insurgencies, which is going. Sagaing region is on the border of Nagaland and Manipur. So Sagaing is one area where you'll find all the militant groups staying, not only NSCNK. It's like it's like a resting place. It's a resting place where they get weapons from the Chinese. They are able to do the drug trade from there. And as you know, today the world's largest drug manufacturing or drug factories are in Golden Triangle, in specifically to Myanmar. As per last reports which I had checked, the re-immigration of people who had left Myanmar has been in huge numbers in the areas where the opium, etc., was being produced, because now they're getting so much money. So today, that's the source of global narco trade, and narco trade leads to narco terrorism. So therefore, India had to do some proactive action. It is the first time, and I will end with this, is that the famous slogan which we have, कि छेड़ोगे तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं. This time it is, जब हमारा मूड करेगा तब हम आपको छोड़ेंगे नहीं. In the sense that moment we get to know that you have started doing your nefarious activities, we will preempt you. It was a preemptive strike, not done till date. It's a message which has been given. I think the Chinese must be reading it in a little more detail. Tomorrow they might come up with some kind of a response to this. I have taken the liberty to say that the incident is correct and true, although I am also as aware as it is on the Twitter. But my own reading is that the incident has been correctly reported. It's been actually that this kind of attack has actually taken place. So there is a whole lot of change which is taking place, and the change is for good. That's the way. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, General Dushyant Singh. And viewers, I don't know how many of you know this. It is believed that about 90 to 100 million Chinese are followers of Falun Gong. Falun Gong is a very Buddhist organization. It is also believed that most of them practice vegetarianism. And an interesting statistic came out that if you want to have body parts change, there are two big requests from the rich people who want these things changed. One is that they need a pure Muslim's organ, or the other is a pure vegetarian's organ. It's so morbid, just the thought. And this is how it is. I mean, China has the most advanced organ plant or organ change program, most advanced hospitals you can think of. So Falun Gong is about 90 to 95 million, and then I'm also told about 10 to 15 million is also Christian along the coast, because that's where Christianity tried to put its roots down. So China, even though we might say that it's all run by CCP, it's communist, it doesn't have a god, there are people who are still practicing the religion. Maybe it's not coming out in the open, and I don't think the CCP can tamp it down. They've tried it. General Ravi Shankar, now that Dalai Lama, his successor that the Chinese chose, is supposed to be 36 years old now. Now, this is where the interesting thing comes.
That's
see, whoever Dalai Lama chooses is going to be obviously the one that people will accept, isn't it? How do you see this dynamics play out?
Look, let me put it. I'll take you into something which we have not discussed so far. The first thing is what I'll take it from actually where you said. Which is the largest religion in China? Buddhism.
Yes.
Buddhism. It is not Tibetan or Theravada Buddhism. It is Han Buddhism. But Buddhism is Buddhism. So
correct.
The influence of Buddhism is there. So that is why Tibetan Buddhism can instigate a lot of problems all over in China. That's the first thing which we should understand. The second thing is this problem can restart. You go back till 2008. Buddhism was quite violent. The protests in Tibet were quite violent. When did they stop? They stopped when 2008 Beijing Olympics. Beijing Olympics was supposed to be a coming out party for China, and everyone said no, take the Tibetans out of the equation, and everyone left the Tibetans, including India. Let me be very honest, because 2003 we had just concluded the MOU with China. We didn't want the Tibetans anywhere around, and that was a time when everyone hoped that China will change and things like that, and democracy will come. 20 years later, all that is gone down the drain. That's a different story. So that from 2008, you found that the Tibetan story was subdued completely. And 2017 in Strasbourg, the Dalai Lama went and spoke about his middle path and all that, and that's where we are. That's when he said Tibet is part of China and all that. All that can be reversed. So that's how the story is. But today you see a revival. You will see a revival of this whole story of Tibet. Not only Buddhism, Tibet as a whole, for few good reasons. One is that relatively China has gone weak from 2008. In 2008, the world was supporting China in all its endeavors, including within the country. Today, no one supports China. That's the first thing. Second, India-China dynamic has changed considerably over these years, especially in the last 2-3 years. Huge change. Today, most of us are antagonistic towards China, and increasingly, as I keep doing videos and I keep getting feedback from people, you realize that there's a complete antipathy towards China, and everyone says Tibet is a free state. And historically also, it's been a free state, never under China. In fact, China never expanded so far. So that is coming under question, and the Chinese are hard put to justify their occupation of Tibet. I suppose in the next 2-3 years, if things go in the same way, there will be issues. That's the first thing. The next thing is this is a long game. Look, reincarnation and ultimately a Dalai Lama actually taking over reins of the Tibetan society, the Buddhist society, has always been over a decade and a half. Even if you and make emanation and all that, still it's going to take some time. It's not going to be in a hurry. So that's a very important factor. This is a long game. And China is getting into this long game when it is going down. Now, there's a difference between Xinjiang and Tibet. The vulnerability of China in Tibet is very huge, not in Xinjiang. Why not in Xinjiang? Xinjiang is, the bordered by all Muslim nations. Things can be controlled. All those Muslim nations have huge, deep linkages with, China. And China twists their tails, whether it's Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and all that, except Afghanistan. Afghanistan, it is paying it off. Virtually, the Afghans are, and the Taliban are put a gun to its head and blackmailing them and taking money. As simple as that. Okay. So, and Xinjiang, they're able to control that way. Here, it's not possible because Tibetan Buddhism is not practiced only in Tibet. It is practiced in Himachal, Ladakh, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, huge. And there are political tones to this Buddhism in India. For example, Arunachal Pradesh, the chief minister will almost be a Tibetan Buddhist. So there's a political thing. And the Dalai Lama, the post of the Dalai Lama is always political. He is not only a spiritual head of the Tibetan Buddhists, he is also political head of the Tibetan Buddhists. So you cannot divorce politics from religion as far as Tibetan Buddhism is concerned. And that politics spills over into India. And that is the reason why China says 5 fingers, I want South Tibet, North Tibet, and all that nonsense. Because Tibet, they want to control Tibetan Buddhism, which they are not able to control. Now, this opens a can of worms for the next 5-10 years till this this is what the reincarnation issue is settled. And all this is happening with a border of 3,000 kilometers with India, which is antagonistic to China and is growing up. It has its own issues. Then you want to go and show your presence in Myanmar. So far, we didn't. What General Dushyant says, we have done something there. The Indian Army and everyone is officially saying, no, we have not done anything. But Ulfa people are saying something has happened. So we'll leave it at that. It may be a covert operation and all. But that is a very strong signal. Why? It's not only drug trade. The complete rare earths, the rare earth critical minerals, dysprosium, rare earth comes from Myanmar. And where there is huge arsenic poisoning, etc., etc. Yesterday I spoke in my channel with General PC Nair. Now, the Myanmaris are not happy with this whole story because their people are getting sick. So they want to get back on, do a reversal on the critical minerals. If that happens, incidentally, those hard rare earth minerals, okay, they are all sourced from Myanmar illegally. If something happens there, China is in a problem. Don't think China is restricting rare earth minerals only because they want to twist everyone's tail. They're not getting rare earths also, the basic things. So there are layers to this whole story in Myanmar, and we have done something there. So if that flags off or that catches fire, and then Tibet itself catches fire, don't look at it tomorrow, day after. Look at it. I said it's a long game. What happens 2 years hence? What happens 3 years hence? This will become a danger to the CCP rule. This threatens the CCP rule at its core. I mean, we have to understand this. You can destabilize complete China without any doubt. Okay. Then the next thing is we have to understand that China, every 20-30 years, there's an eruption in China. This is the history. You go back in 1980, Tiananmen, you go back in 2007, 2008, Tibet thing came up. You go back before that, the great, this cultural revolution and great leap forward. Before that, there was a civil war. Before that, there was a Japanese insurrection. So if you go every 20-30 years, China has had problems. Don't think China is absolutely happy, go lucky, वो CCP वो इनको freedom दे, पैसा दे देगा, ये freedom दे देंगे, and everyone is happy. It's not. If this Tibetan things comes up, there'll be a huge problem. People say, no, they have put a lot of money in Tibet, a lot of Tibetans won't take part in this problem. I agree. 80% will not get involved. But you don't need 100% of Tibetans to create an uprising. The actual figure to create a problem is just 3 to 4%. And my guess is at least 15 to 20% will get up. And if there are two Dalai Lamas, one nominated by China and one by, the Dalai Lama here, and that man comes up and that Dalai Lama is in India or wherever, then you are going to see divided loyalty of Tibetans within Tibet. There will be still people who believe in the Dalai Lama. There are a lot of people. After all, when the Dalai Lama said there will be a reincarnation out in free world, he also said, I've consulted people from Tibet. I've done extensive consultations from people in Tibet. Okay, so that means what? That there are a lot of people within Tibet who will want Dalai Lama to nominate the next Dalai Lama, not China. That's why I said even if 15 to 20% of Tibetans don't go with the Chinese way of doing things, China is in trouble. And if you support it, I mean, now I'll come to what should India do? India has to make use of this opportunity, settle your rimlands. You had a push. Okay, why do you think Xi Jinping went back in 2004? They're not fools to have gone back. They must have factored this and let's build some good thing, so that the goodwill with India, so that when this problem comes up 1-2 years, we will be able to solve it across the table. Okay, you see the reactions of the Chinese. I just showed you Chinese spokesperson's reaction. You see the outpour in Global Times. You see the outpour in what the Chinese ambassador to India has said. I don't have his tweet with me. It's at times it sounds as if they're threatening India not to do. Yeah. And we also must understand, right? India is not. Everyone thinks India is being soft. For example, we've already given up the one China policy when Madam Sushma Swaraj was the foreign minister. After that, no one speaks of one child policy, one China policy. That's gone, buried as far as India is concerned. And that is why we are enhancing our relations with Taiwan. See, let me zoom out of this Tibet problem. We have this Tibet problem. We know how to handle it now. You're on top of the situation. You zoom out. You've done an outreach to Taiwan, right? Zoom out a little bit. You've done an outreach to Indonesia and Philippines and Japan, and you're part of the Quad. And all these issues which you come up, here it is, Zhu Fihong. Okay, the 14th Dalai Lama claimed that his successor will be born outside China. The truth is, Tibetan Buddhism traces its origin to Qinghai Tibet plateau, all that, right? So in recent years, he has deliberately promoted his attempts to reincarnate outside China. Doesn't this exactly reflect his intention to use religion as a tool to split the country? It proves that Dalai Lama is a political exile who has been engaged in anti-China separatist activities under the cloak of religion. First class. CCP doesn't have the sole proprietary rights of politics in the world. Okay, everyone has. When they can interfere with our politics, we can also interfere in their politics. If they can get this gentleman Rajiv Gandhi, when he didn't know what he was doing, to sign a MOU with them as Congress party, whatever he was, and
you meant Rahul Gandhi. You meant Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah, Rahul Gandhi, and hold it as some kind of a thing which we keep discussing. Or we can also do what we want.
Yeah.
Who's stopping us? And Buddhism is also there in Myanmar. Myanmar also Buddhist.
Correct.
Like what General Dushyant said, we have not played our Buddhist card well. Why Gaya mein ek hi tree hai where Buddha sat. There's only one tree. Everyone knows that tree. You go to Gaya and you see Buddhist thing, the temple is not great. The temple is there. I've gone about 4-5 times to that thing. Everyone sits under the tree. People from Sri Lanka come and sit under the tree for 3 days in a row, and when that sun is beating down at 40 degrees. And if you sit for 1 hour, you get burnt. And they sit three days under that tree. Then you go to Rajgir, you go to Nalanda, you go to that entire Buddhist circuit, you go to Sarnath, you go to Vidisha. You have so much. And that, you can always roll this Buddhism with, things like Jainism and Mahavirism. That's also almost the same kind of a culture. We are not playing this card so far. Should we play this card? I have no doubts. We should. Time has come, and for all you know, we have started it. But we don't have to be in a hurry. This is going to take time. We should bide our time and play it slowly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, General Shankar. I'll come to General Dushyant in just a second, and then we'll take questions, sir. We have a lot of questions. That will probably give us more perspectives. Viewers,
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you know this. See, in Hinduism, right, if you are having some sort of a goal in mind, and then you go and pray, usually to Ganesha, saying that if I attain this goal, I'll break 108 coconuts. So the number 108 is very sacred. Same thing in Buddhism. They say that if whatever endeavor of mine is successful, I will make 108 bows. It is a bow, which is a very traditional Buddhist form of bows. So the number 108, we know why that is. I mean, there's a rare relationship of positioning and the diameters of sun, moon, and the earth. I've said this thing many times. You all know what that is. My question to General Dushyant is, General Dushyant, the CCP has tried to Hanify, actually Hani in Hindi is actually more what they have done. They have done this
Yeah.
to the Tibetan region as well as to Xinjiang.
Yes.
How successful have they been, especially in Tibet first?
Okay. As far as Tibet goes, you have to grant one thing to the Chinese, that they have been methodically trying to extend their influence as far as Tibetan population is concerned. They are also of the view that the second and the third generation and the fourth generation now, which is coming out in Tibet, has no direct linkage to the Dalai Lama and the turbulence which went through. Till I think initial portions, yes, there were a lot of movement, revolution took place, people's protest took place. But I think after the Tiananmen Square incident, the way Tiananmen Square was oppressed by the Chinese, or dealt by the Chinese, there was a slow reduction, and even Dalai changed tack. You have to Dalai, in the greater interest of the people of Tibet, had actually requested or appealed to the public of Tibet that they should avoid direct confrontation, essentially purely because of the fact that he didn't want his people to die. So they have taken advantage of this, and advantage the way they are taking is, they have built a lot of infrastructure. Now anything which is built there in an area like Tibet where there was nothing, the generations which are coming later on do get impressed by such things. For example, I think it was in 2023 when they also celebrated Buddhist Day, and they had about 4 lakh Tibetans. Now 4 lakh is a large number to attend that function. Now whether that function was made to attend by force, by heralding them to go there and then listen to their Panchan Lama, etc., that I am not very sure. But the fact is, optics they are doing of these kind through the nature of government they have. So therefore they don't have to go through your spate of opposition parties, constitutions, etc., etc. So they have been quite successful, especially along the borders. They have been able to create a security wall which needs to be dealt with, and accordingly now India is trying to counter those efforts. And in this I would like to highlight a very important actor which General Shankar also mentioned, and I myself have done about 2 events with him in Delhi. That is Chief Minister Prem Khandu. We have had 2 incidents, 2 seminars in which he has been very open about it, and he says Do you know Arunachal is not as rich as, say, Uttarakhand or, for that matter, Himachal, etc. But out of the 614 villages which have to be developed along the India Tibet border, 412 odd villages are in Arunachal Pradesh. And he has volunteered to take it on as the phase one of this entire initiative. And he's going at great gun. He's going at great speed to ensure that this kind of a thing happens. So there is an action being done by India, but I would say that they have been fairly successful, essentially because of policing and because of overbearing actions which they take against the people. How long will it sustain? It depends upon the actions which we in India have to take, and that will depend upon how much support we give to the Tibetology in India in the coming few years. Like I said, if we start celebrating things of Buddhism much more intensely, much more openly, much more overtly, what stops us? Gautam Buddha was our ninth, yes, ninth avatar of Vishnu,
Incarnation of- Yes, yes, yes,
reincarnation of Vishnu. Why
Because
can't
yes.
we
he
play
told
that
how.
narrative? Why can't we play that narrative? 108 vows, why have they come? They have come based on the culture from where Buddhism has actually evolved itself. So therefore, I think these narratives are not being really built upon
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
manner.
I agree with you
So
completely.
at Cloth, I have taken out a compendium on Tibetology, not a big one, about 10,000 words, highlighting these small things which are connecting India with Tibet. And this in the long run, it will spread on the other side also. I'm sure we'll break through this hard, what do you call, action, military actions which they take to subdue the population of Tibet. They have been successful, but through force. That's the way I look at it. They have mandated through law, they have mandated through force, they have changed names, they are actually trying to subvert everything which is there as a master plan over a period of time. And they come out with these things, in a very, very, how do you say, a timeline manner. After 6 months, they will release another set of names. After a few months, they will give another statement on Arunachal Pradesh. And in Arunachal Pradesh, especially, they target the West Kameng area, because that area for them,
This,
if they
this,
feel that once if they get the West Kameng people to get against the India, I mean against the Indian government, they would have a great hand in assimilating Arunachal. Arunachal is in priority, but so is Ladakh. If you look at it from perspective of security, that is the security situation, Ladakh is priority one. Arunachal, they have kept it as priority two, essentially because it does not affect them from a security perspective, whereas Ladakh affects them from security perspective because of their reach towards Afghanistan, Pakistan, Central Asian region. We are also seeing that the Wakhan corridor road is almost on completion. There are some reports to this effect. So that is why you find Xinjiang and that area being given slightly higher priority. But in both the cases, India is affected. So I would grant the our adversary a little success in this arena, but we are also doing our own bit in our own way, slowly but steadily. So it's a long game. It will keep on being played. Mansarovar, we have started visiting again. So so these things will continue. Thaw will take place again. There will be some kind of a heated conflict which might take place a small level. Both know that they have to grow to a particular aim by 2047 and 2049. I think that is the primary driver for both these countries, and we both must take advantage of it, whether it is Kautilya on our side or Sun Tzu on their side, because both are playing the same game. So let's also keep playing the same game. Sometimes become hard, sometimes become soft, and that's what is happening. So we will play the Taiwan card, we will play the Buddhism card, we will play the reincarnation card. In fact, there is a huge move possibly, and if that happens, I would be the most happiest person if the Dalai is born in Ladakh or reincarnated in Ladakh. Imagine what is going to happen. And people are
True,
now,
true.
playing their game, and even better, if it happens in Bhutan, then
Yeah,
Very true, sir.
yeah. I
neither
mean,
Yeah.
India can
the
neither
thing is,
India can. Huh? Yeah,
no,
go
no,
ahead, sir.
what he's saying is very critical. The thing is, Xinjiang has got economic, all that more. That importance is more, but the Tibet is their kata. That is the problem for them, right? And the hands who are there are not fully hands. Let me also put this across. You see, a lot of hand population in Tibet are those people who come for the projects. They come to do the projects because they get extra money, extra thing, and they go back. The number of hands who completely settle in Tibet are not that much as it is made out. So the grip on Tibet is not permanent. They're not Hanizing that thing that they're Hanizing Tibet is not there. On the other hand, they're trying to suppress Tibetan culture. Now, if the Dalai Lama is from Ladakh or someplace, वो तो गए काम से. See, I'll tell. I mean, what he's saying, and let me explain to you in geographical terms. You know, Tibet has got three regions: Changtang, Kham, and Amdo. Amdo is north, Kham is the one towards Yunnan, and Changtang is to the east. Strictly speaking, in the olden days, Changtang covered right up to Ladakh and that Buddhist areas of Ladakh. In fact, large part. Uh, if you go to eastern Ladakh in India, I'm not right in eastern Ladakh, people say, "Ray, kahan se? Ye Changtang se. Ye Changtangi hai." Changtang is actually a part of Tibet in the olden days. So you see that cultural connect with Tibet is there. If there's a chap from Ladakh who's Dalai Lama, actually you're going to control Tibetan Buddhism from sitting in Ladakh. Oh, that is very dicey for China, and it's like having a dynamite under your backside. So there are issues, but at this point of time, like we have been saying, this is a long game. This is only the start. There are a lot of layers to this, and let's not forget that China is a tough country. We're going to have a tough time. It's not easy. It's not easy, but we have turned the key. Let's see whether we can open the door.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. And viewers, reincarnation is real. And I've been trying very hard to get a guest on my channel. Somehow the stars haven't lined up. That's the only way I can explain it. I will get this gentleman, and you will get to see for yourself what I meant by what I just said. Let's take a few questions, good generals. And we have a lot of questions, as a matter of fact. Let's try to rifle through them quickly. If you don't mind, we'll just do ping pong, one to directed at each of you. Ramesh Rao, thank you so much for YouTube membership. Shiv Kumar Pandey, thank you so much. Saurabh Savarwal, this is for you, General Shankar. Your cartoons are very famous in Delhi NCR WhatsApp groups nowadays. Also, M77 UL House. No, let's just go with only one question. Okay. Yeah. M77 UL Howitzer. How would you procure from US has destroyed 7-8 targets and
which you had procured? Yeah.
Yeah. Sir,
thanks a lot.
Go ahead,
thanks
sir.
a lot. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Tibetan hand guy.
Thank you, General Shankar, for your unwavering support for Tibet. As a Tibetan, see, we have to start pronouncing it correctly. The first T in Tibet is soft. It's not ta. It's not ta. It's the, and then the last one is ta. That's how I have it in my 1931 map. When Tibet is referred to as in this is Devanagari, so there is no confusion about how to pronounce it. It's Tibet. As a Tibetan, I believe more than 60% Tibetans will rise given the opportunity. Currently, they must lie low due to extreme surveillance.
Yeah, I agree with you. We wish you the very best. We are with you. Let's be very clear.
Vatyam Vamshi Sharma, this is for you, General Dushyant. General Rajiv, what should be the way forward for India to diplomatically isolate/insulate Bangladesh and other? Sir, this is out of topic. Let's not go there. Let's go to the next question, because there are so many to cover. Sorry, we'll do it next time. Vasu Iyengar wants to know, Sree, a lot of us feel Ganeshot, Pguru's clause are all being shadow banned. Could you please share a bit of wisdom on how to counteract from your experience? Very simple. We have given you WhatsApp groups. If you join our Pguru's WhatsApp group, I think this is in thousands now. That rain or shine, you will get notification of the WhatsApp group. From there, you know the program is there. By the way, today by mistake I had said 8 o'clock, and then I changed it back to 8:30 because that pattern has to be established in everybody's mind. 8:30 p.m. Sunday, it's going to be a class /Ganeshot/Pguru's seminar, and all the other things, like for example, the engines that send this virality, they like that consistency, same set of panelists, same time of the week. So we are trying to do a few things. You can help. Just join the WhatsApp group and you will get notification. Next one, please.
Correct.
Krishna Kishore wants to, this is still with General Dushyant, sir. Why not declare India's border is with Tibet and not China?
Okay, this is already being done in some form or the other. Officially, we have not declared it, but unofficially, I think it is being mentioned all across. Even once the chief minister has said this, I think it's also got the official confirmation as well. The main actor in this has already said it. So take it. Yes, it's the chief. It's the state government which has said it.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
This is for you, General Shankar. It's a two-part. It's a long question, so I'll just read it out. The Dalai Lama has many years to go. He has clearly stated that his reincarnation shall be born in the free world in general and Bharat in particular. Thus, the next Dalai Lama, continue please, occupied by the Tibetan people would be a born resident of Bharat. Of course, the Dalai Lama as an institution is gender neutral. What effect would this have on China's policy?
China will have a problem, because if they nominate a Dalai Lama and another Dalai Lama here, they're going to have a huge problem. That will create a rift within Tibet. You see, the first thing is it will create a rift within Tibet, because a lot of people will not agree to that Dalai Lama. And you see, go back to the Panchen Lama who was there. The current Dalai Lama nominated a Panchen Lama within Tibet. That fellow was lifted up and taken out, and he is no more there. And they put their Panchen Lama, and that fellow has grown up. Now he's supporting the Chinese stance at this point of time. But the problem in this case is the Dalai Lama, which the Dalai Lama now nominates, will be outside Tibet. So he has got no control. So they're going to have a divided population, ethnically, religiously. And nothing like religion to, either bind a nation or spoil a nation. So that's where China is worried. That's why they're meltdown. This is like a nuclear reactor which has gone super critical.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There are some rumors, I'm not very sure, that the Panchen Lama is alive, the one who is supposed to have gone missing.
Maybe.
There are some rumors.
Maybe.
It has been deliberately. Yeah, it has been deliberately kept like that. So you have a technically two Panchen Lamas, technically.
Yeah.
During the 1950s uprising, a lot of stuff got brought back to United States that has still not been completely explored by specialists, in my opinion. And there is an idol of Shiva, which goes back, I think, 60,000 years or something of that unbelievable age. And that is there. 60,000, yes.
Oh
There's a lot of stuff that it's all being kept hush, 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 hush. I don't know, maybe Americans don't know whom to give it to decode it. I have no idea what has happened there, but I think these things will start kindling interest in that also. Next question to General Ravi Shankar, please. Chirantan Saha wants to know, I see a defense expert opinion divided. Some say China would overtake US, others say US is still way ahead, and some say both US and China are declining and only India rising. By 2047, who would be number one and India's rank? General Ravi Shankar.
I mean, it's not a big deal. India, China, and USA will be the big countries. Ranking has got very little value in this. I'll leave it at that. That's it. The short answer.
Yeah.
Next one, General Dushyant. Amitesh Behera wants to know why only USA and India, primarily the Tibet issue. Where is the rest of the world?
Okay, so I think rest of the world is also there. Most of the West is on board, because if US is likely to support any move by the Dalai Lama, as far as its future actions are concerned, whether it is related to reincarnation, whether it is related to any statements on Tibet. So West normally follows the US. So there is a fair bit of support. I mean, and there are ambassadors. Richard Gere is one such ambassador. There are many others who are actually promoting. Australia has a huge support for Buddhism. So you will find that there is a support for Dalai Lama. Yeah, it is not. It doesn't come in the mainstream media, so we get this feeling that they are not being backed. They are being backed, and of course, Taiwan is always there as a factor, because of which the West is likely to back them in any future contingency.
Taiwan also has a fair incidence of Buddhism, viewers.
Yes.
I've been to Buddhist temples in Taiwan. So South Korea, like you said, South Korea, a lot of Buddhism. Japan, a lot of Buddhism. In fact, Japan has a mix of Hinduism also. Benzaitan is nothing but Saraswati, goddess Saraswati.
It's just that we don't talk. Sri Lanka has one.
Yes, yes.
Mongolia has the other one. I mean, there are a number of countries actually. It used to be the second largest religion once upon a time.
Next one, please. Ashish Hegde, General Ravi Shankar, is for you. NATO's General Mark Rutte has issued warning over China's military buildup towards Taiwan, calling the alignment between Beijing, Moscow, and other authoritarian regimes a threat to global stability.
Well, it's got very little relevance, because what will NATO do here is got this thing.
Yeah.
NATO has to keep itself relevant, so he'll make statements. We should not pay too much attention to it.
Next one, General Dushyant, for you. What do you think is the future of the CCP? Any chance of them continuing to be in power?
Well, it's too early to say goodbye to them, but yes, they are in a state of turmoil, and it all depends how they come out of the current instability which they are facing due to Xi Jinping's, whether it is bad health or whether it is his losing influence. All that only time can tell. I won't hazard a guess, but I would definitely say that there is going to be a churning, and there is going to be a change very soon. I mean, that's the way the writing of the wall is.
Let me plant a thought in all of our minds. Yours, the per capita income in Taiwan is 3 times the per capita income of the CCP, China. This fact alone should rile them up, the Chinese up, saying that our system is broke. Taiwan was not a democracy to start with, but at least in the 90s, they switched to democracy, and they have taken great strides. Maybe we should become a democracy rather than be the slaves of the CCP, especially its princelings. That's it. Next one, please. Sir, one day we should look at why Kuomintang lost. See, I have read a lot of this stuff about history, the period from 1925 to 1949, when he finally, he left to Taiwan to form ROC, and he took all the cultural artifacts with him because he was sure that Mao would destroy all that stuff, destroy the entire culture. We should take a look at that because there's lots of interesting dynamics there as to what happened, who took whose side, who supported whom, who dumped whom. Very, very interesting stuff. Anyway, let's go to the next question, please. This is for General Shankar. Srinivasan Iyengar wanted to know whether Tibetans in India are granted citizenship or still living as refugees. If there is sizable number of Tibetans, can we form a small Tibetan regiment in the RB?
Look, they are not granted Indian citizenship. They are still with Tibetan citizenship with some special arrangements, right? I'll leave it at that. And as far as Tibetan regiment in the army is concerned, we selectively take these people into the Indian army in some form. I won't say Indian, not in the Indian army, in the Indian armed forces in some form. And they are not formally in the Indian army. And we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Thank you.
So what is ITBP, sir? This is just for my curiosity. Indo-Tibetan Border Police.
We'll leave it at this point. We'll leave it.
Let's say the more. Ashish Hegde wants to know, this is for General Dushyant, China shot itself in the foot by saying it's Iron Man of Pakistan.
Yeah, Iron Friend.
I mean, why has it shot its foot? It has been saying so for so many years. The friendship of China and Pakistan is higher than the Himalayas, deeper than the oceans. So, I mean, this has been an ironclad brother. So these are things which he has been saying for quite some time. It's not really short its foot. It is. I mean, they are very overt about it. Let's put it this way: they are very overt about it.
I thought this was Pakistan's claim. Did China also say the same thing?
Yeah. They have been also. They have been both together on everything. Who will give you so much? Who will give you so much on the plate? Knowing the Chinese who charge 6%, 7% interest rates, but they are continuing to supply. Whether they're interested to test their bad weapon systems, that's a different issue. But the fact of the matter is that nobody would like to sink so much of money without having this kind of a relationship. They don't even do this to the Russians.
Sajendran Nambiar, this is for you, General Shankar. All Tibet-related signals precursor to EAM's visit to China, right?
Look, the External Affairs Minister's visit to China is just an event for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. There's very little to do with Tibet and whatever is happening. There are different stories. A certain amount of whatever is happening in Tibet will have effect on Mr. Jaishankar and how he talks and all that. But Tibet is a longer range question, long game. The External Affairs Minister's visit is a short thing. We will leave it at that.
Next one, please. Cold Youth wants to know, Iyer sir, please ask guests to suggest some books on China about PLA, politics, CPC, and history. General Dushyant, you first, then General Rav Shankar.
Yeah, as far as books go, there are, I mean, I don't offhand remember related to what I said was in December, there is going to be an 8-volume book which is coming out, and that has A to Z everything about Tibet. Wait out for this book before reading anything else. This man is a plethora of knowledge. When I say plethora, I mean, I think he knows even every stone related to Tibetan culture. So wait for him. His name is Mr. Neeraj Kumar. This book is very likely to come out soon. And if you want to know more, just go to the clause.co.in site. We are taking out every, I think, month a book on Tibet, essentially related to capturing the entire Tibetan culture, the Tibetan influence, and how India can actually leverage them.
General Shankar.
Look, when you want to read about China and Tibet and all, there are 3-4 areas which you have to read. One is Tibet. To start with, you can read Henrik Herrer's 7 Years in Tibet. It will give you some idea. And then go on to other books on Tibet, right? Then the second thing which you need to read is India-China history. India-China, you can, there's so many books on India-China 62 war, right from regular J.P. Dalby's and then Maxwell. 1962 you must read. The third thing is about China itself. The thing with China is that history is not very well, represented, because the communist history is now not yet fully declassified. There are a couple of books by a chap called Frank Dicotta. Right? You read his books. It'll give you a good idea about China. Okay. On PLA, you will not find many books. You will not find, because they are all part of the CCP, and that Frank Dicotta book will give you some idea. These are some. Otherwise, there are a lot of Westerners who have written a lot about China. Yeah, Dragon's Bite is Rajiv Narayanan, but this is about PLA.
Yes, this is about, yes. So, General Narayanan's book is a must read. I've been reading it. Fantastic book. Next one, please. Rajaraman wants to know, would Tibet pave way for China's disintegration? General Dushyant.
Yeah, I mean, these are questions which you are asking too much into the future, right? They are, but one thing which I can tell you, the answer to Chinese fall lies in the control of the peripheries. So once we are able to dislodge the peripheries, Chinese will get restricted to Han, which is the area east of the Tibetan plateau, including Inner Mongolia. All those areas will go out of Chinese influence. So yes, you're right. It will go through the peripheries.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. General Shankar, this is for you, sir. India has been weak in preemptive approach, whether it's military or in taking geopolitical decisions or grabbing an opportunity on international front. I think we just disproved you in the morning, Saurabh. The first thing about what happened in Myanmar. Sir, your answer.
Look, it's not so. We've taken a lot of initiatives, and the biggest initiative is that Bangladesh wouldn't have come about if we didn't take that initiative, and we've done a lot. The only thing is we're not good in narratives, and I agree with you to some extent that we have not been doing many things to take the initiative and being aggressive because of one, our political system, then a socio-economic structure within India. We had to come out. Remember, the past 75 years has been consolidation of India, which is the larger part, right? Which is, I think, a very important thing which has happened. And then stabilization, and now it's progress, right? All these years, you couldn't afford to be aggressive. Okay? It is now that we have started looking at it proactively. I'm sure things will happen. Don't worry.
General Dushyant, this is for you, sir. Thank God we aren't as bad as USA having a Chinese police station inside the country, but they keep pushing different narratives within the country to trouble us more.
That's right, but you should not get unduly disturbed about these narratives being pushed in, unless and until you get swayed by them. These narratives are as good as words, which are being spoken about. So therefore, the answer lies in A, fact checking, B, creating your own counter narratives. So there are some work going on these areas. People like us who are talking on the YouTube are trying to clarify various issues related to the narratives. So I think it's not a big problem. It has been created into a big problem just to attack our minds. And let's keep our minds strong. You all are followers of yoga here.
This is for General Shankar. Idental Racine wants to know, how can we give a clear signal to China regarding Tibet? When you say long game, in 10-20 years, can we actually get Tibet to be an independent country?
See, who can predict 10 years ahead? Can you predict tomorrow? So it's a long game. You play it as it comes and you take advantage of it as it comes, right? And ultimate aim is to make Tibet an independent country so that it becomes a buffer between China and India. Whether that will be realized or not, well, it's a matter of time. Time will have to tell. This is something you can't really put out very clearly. Yeah.
Saurabh wants to know, question to both the generals. General Dushyant first. Can we say for Xi Jinping, Thakur, to gayo? This is a Karan Arjun dialogue. What difference does it make? Another clown will come and sit there. I don't see any difference.
That's what I'm saying. This guy has been discussed, I think, more than what he deserves. I mean, that's my short answer to it.
Yeah.
Next question from Art Here C. Clark. Russia now supplies 40% of India's oil. Will Yankee Doodle or China or others disrupt the supply chain? Any backup plan? General Shankar.
See, China won't. China can't. Okay. Trump is trying. I don't think he can. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and we are having Venezuelan deals which are coming up.
We have other things also.
Yeah.
We also got Guyana now, I think, and Trinidad also probably might be in play. Suriname has found oil. India itself has found oil in Andaman, which is why the Chinese spy ship is scurrying about there. So
I must share this thing about the Andaman. The other day I was listening to somebody big, and what he said was that the reason why we were not able to find oil in our country was that for the last, I think, 20, 30 years, we did not explore enough.
Yes.
And the government has changed that track, and they have started now investing hugely, including foreign direct investment, into exploration. And that is the reason why we struck some kind of oil in Andaman. Time will tell how much of the storage, etc., is there. But the assurance given was that it's going to be huge. Let's see.
So it's a deep sea fish oil drilling. It's not a
Yeah.
trivial task. It's going to be quite
Absolutely.
intensive.
Quite, yes.
Yeah. So next question, last question for General Dushyant Singh. Thank you so much, Gehra Rajika Anmol Tattu. Why can't India use proxies to create security issues within China the way China uses RM? How do you know we are not?
Okay. Okay. Do you think any country can survive without intelligence? 3,000 years back, we were doing this job very effectively. Have we lost the art, or have we forgotten this art? Just be rest assured, tentacles do go across if you want to survive in this world. I think that's the short of it.
Thank you so much, General Dushyant. Thank you so much, General Shankar. It's been a pleasure and a wonderful session. Very different, I think, because we've kind of deep dive a little bit into Tibet and Dalai Lama and the entire Buddhism around it. Another place that I forgot to mention is Nagarjuna Konda, which
Yes.
the artifacts came up when they were trying to build the Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. I think that's why they called it Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. And there's a small island in the middle of the dam. That's where all the artifacts are placed.
Yeah,
Those
there's
of
a
you who
museum
go to
on
the Nagarjuna Sagar Dam, please, there's a ferry that goes and takes you there and then comes back. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Do look at it. Look it up. So, sir, thank you so much. And we'll see you again next Sunday, same time. Namaskar.
Thank you. Yeah.